Hey, it's Brian again. Welcome back to the next episode of the Broken Man Fixed um, YouTube channel. Um, so, I've been thinking about how and what I should do my next video on. I wasn't really sure. Um, I got a whole list of stuff I'm wanting to work on, but like, so it's funny how life can put stuff into life can put stuff in your way, and something's been happening over like the last week, and I'm like, oh, this might be something that's good. This might be something good. So I'll start it off like this. December 9th, 2008. I had been up for, I don't know, probably 24 hours or so. And it was morning. And I'd probably walked 10 to 12 miles around the hallways of Cox South Hospital in Springfield, Missouri. And in Crocs with no socks on. Because, I'm cool and that's what we do. And you see, my wife at the time, she was pregnant, and she's about to give birth. And so we did what we did, and we didn't know at the time what the gender was or anything because it was going to be a surprise. And we were supposed to be doing this on December 7th, but it's December 9th because, as I've come to find out later on in life, my child is never ready to do anything on time. So on December 9th, this child decided to make an appearance. And I got to be there. And I was scared. Oh, God, I was terrified. Um, but at the same time, I was portraying an outside image of cool, calm, and collected. Because you have to, you know. And so then somewhere probably around like 10:30 in the morning or so, a doctor handed me this little tiny human, little tiny pink, just wiggling little bald, just covered with goo. And then they said some of the scariest things I've ever heard in my entire life. They said, "It's a girl." Ah, crap. What am I going to do? What am I supposed to do? Because you can't mess this up. You can't mess this part up. So, sitting there holding this thing, like, I thought I knew who I was up until this point and what I wanted to do in my life and everything, but until that little tiny person was placed into my hands, everything that I thought I knew and I thought I wanted to be and do and stuff was completely gone. So this is now my direction. This is my North Star. This is my compass, whatever you want to call it. So started to learn a lot of things, do what I could do, and and you come home and every day it was something new. Like they're just quickly. And she had a rough go of things at first. She's a little colicky. Um, and her mom was having a rough time too. Postpartum and stuff hits every woman and does more different. But she did her best as she could. And so I think she was just I'd come home and she'd lay there on me, and it was like, okay, so like my favorite things in the world. I love babies. I'm an absolute just nut for babies, and I love old people. But little itty bitties, when they're like itty bitty little babies, and they're doing that thing where they're like laying right here, and they got their little arms bundled up underneath them, and their little feet, and they look like they're like a little tree frog, is what I like to call them. And you get to sit there and like you look down and you like rub your face and your nose on them, and you play with their hair if they have any, which my child did not, and you smell them, and it's like this is like the greatest smell ever. It's like because babies are perfect, perfect. They're the absolute perfect thing. And it's the best smell in the world, and until it ain't, and then it's that diaper that you got to learn how to change and do it appropriately. And so then you keep coming home, and they keep growing, and there's advancements, little advancements every single day, and they start to hold that head up, and they're they're bobbing it around, and then one day they're not bobbing it. They're holding it on their own, and then they start to wiggle around, and they're making their little noises, and they get that little baby laugh, which, oh my god, that little baby laugh is the best. The giggles, oh, that's okay. So that's the best laugh you're ever going to hear in your entire life, because that is the most pure laugh that there ever is. There's nothing forced behind it. It's not fake. It's just pure. It's natural. That's their natural laugh. And then they start to grow a little more and do a little more, and they start to do their own little version of talking, which is just they're mimicking the sounds that we make as best they can. And then, like, for one day, for no reason whatsoever, they'll take that one little foot and they'll pull it up underneath them, and then they pull that other little foot up underneath them, and then they just stand up. Just stand up, and they act like it's no big deal. It's like, this is what I was supposed to be doing all along. Us, we're like, holy creeping crap, what the heck? And so then they start to get bigger. They start to get bigger, and they're walking, and they start to learn how to talk, which, you want so bad for them to learn how to talk, and you're excited, like, oh, I'm going to teach them how to talk, I'm going to teach them how to talk. And then you realize once they learn how to talk, they're never going to shut up. So, and then they get a little sassy with you, and they get that attitude, and then, stuff will happen, and they won't have that attitude because they're going to need you, and they're going to be soft, and they're going to cry, and they're going to be a little scared or something like that, and you're there, and they don't have that attitude with you anymore. Then you start to develop their little personalities. You start to see like little signs of what they're going to be like when they get older, and this is the best. This is the best. And then everything's awesome. You're taking them swimming. You're doing birthday parties. Halloween's like the best. This is the best. Christmas is okay. Christmas is the best, and then Halloween. And so then one day, time for school. First day of school. And you're prepping yourself for this because you know how it's going to be. You're going to walk your sweet little baby angel to class, and you got yourself all geared up for it because she's going to be, Daddy, I don't want to go. I'm not ready. I'm scared. I'm worried, and stuff like that. So you're prepared for all this stuff. And so you're getting closer to that classroom door, and there it is. And you're like, okay, here it is. It's about to come. Waterworks are about to start. I know what's going to happen. She's going to cry, and I'm going to sweep her up into my arms. I'm going to tell her everything's going to be okay, and I'm going to be the hero. But daughters surprise us, as they do, and as they will continue to do. And then she's going to pull out the old Uno Reverso card on you and be like me. And she gets to that door and sees two of her best friends from preschool in there. And then she sprints over to them like a spotted-butted ape. And you're just left standing at the door. No tears, no goodbye, no hug. What the hell? I just got freaking gypped. I got robbed. So you turn around and you slowly walking down the hall. And you go out and do like I did, and you sit in your truck and you just stare for like what felt like 12 days. And you realize, I lost her. I ain't never getting that back. What she was 30 minutes ago before we got here, that's gone. I'm never getting that back. Until you start to lose her. And then she starts to get a little bit older, and she's, you get through kindergarten and you get into first grade, and you start to go do things with like her little friends, which is terrifying as a grown man being surrounded by a bunch of little girls. I'll tell you straight up, one of the most like overstimulating, intimidating things I've ever done in my entire life was I took her to lunch one day at school, and sitting at a lunchroom table with like 400 other little first grade girls and listening to them talk all at the same time, that's the most overstimulated thing ever in my entire life. And yeah, and I was just intimidated. And you see her with her friends, and you see how people are just naturally drawn to her. And she's kind of starting to become a leader. And you're seeing more of that personality develop. And you see how people react to her. And they're just drawn to her. Because she's perfect. She's perfect. And then a lot of fun stuff starts. Sports start, which for me, I love sports. And, starts off with gymnastics. And you see them with that. And you see the things that, like, 2 weeks ago they couldn't do that now they excel at. And they're conquering their fears. They're conquering it. Oh, this is too high, or I'm not strong enough, or I can't do this. Well, that's what you were saying 3 days ago, and now you're dominating it like it's nothing. And you see that. And that's like pride like you can't even imagine when you see that, and just the way it makes you feel inside your heart. And they're becoming more and more independent. And then other sports come along, softball, other stuff like that. And you just see them growing. You see them growing. You see more of that personality come out, and their humor really, really starts to develop around, second, third, fourth grade. All this is happening. And then one day you have a birthday party and you realize she just turned 10. 10. 10 years old. There's no freaking way she's 10 years old. Like 2 weeks ago, I was buckling her in the car seat. She's not 10. But it's okay. She's still kid. She's still mine. She's still my sweet little baby angel. And then 11 comes along, and 12. And, somewhere around that time, I got a phone call from her mother. Like, hey, your little girl has become a woman. I'm like, what the hell does that mean? You know what it means. So, and she's due to come to your house this weekend, so there's some stuff that you're going to need. I'm like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, I'm not prepared for this. Nobody taught me for this. Nothing. So she sends me a list of things that I need. And so I got off work at the sheriff's office when I was still there. I'm in full uniform, and I go to Walgreens, and I go to the ladies' aisle, and I'm intimidated. I mean, there's too many bright colors, and there's too many selections, and I'm looking at you told me what it is, but of that, what you just said, there's like 20 different kinds of what that just said. What do I do? What do I do? Oh shit, what do I do? I look over and there's like a couple like college age girls, and they're laughing, and they're giggling because they can literally see the fear on my face. And they kind of had to assist me a little bit with it because I don't know. I just don't know. And so I got the thing. It was like always teen something or others. And the only question I had for my ex-wife at this time was, does she know how to use these? Because I'm not showing her. I'm not going to traumatize my daughter to this much. She's like, oh yeah, she knows what to do. Thank Jesus, because I don't want to answer questions. Don't want to. And so I go at the counter and go to check out, and there's a lovely little girl that's working there at the cashier desk, and she's probably 22, 23. And all of those things down on the counter, and she's like, teen always, huh? She's like, you look a little bit big to be a teen. And I had to look at her, and I was like, ma'am, I said, my sweet little baby angel has become a woman. I said, I'm terrified. Like, this is scary as hell. I said, I can't screw this up. I don't know what to do. And I said, and for you to say that to me right now, so that may be like the funniest thing that anybody could have ever said to anybody. I was like, thank you very much for that, because you're taking a lot of the tension out of this. And she kind of giggled, but I think she was a little nervous at first. And so then we grew on, and we keep going. And then they turn to you got the teen years that are coming along. And these are the ones that you're scared of and that you're worried about. Because you got teenage angst, and then you got like flood of hormones and emotions and this, that, and the other. And she's like, I can't screw up. And, but a long time ago, me and mine, we decided we were going to have an open relationship with each other. We were going to talk about everything, and we were going to handle everything with our words and not yell and not scream and not cuss at each other and do that kind of stuff. We were just going to talk things out. And it's been really, really beneficial. I mean, she tells me things that as a parent I need to know, but as a daddy I don't want to know, if you know what I mean. And so then one day you hear one of the scariest things you're ever going to hear in your life. Daddy, first of all, for you fellas, if your kid, your daughter, if she calls you dad all the time, and then she calls you daddy, be prepared, because you're about to get suckered in for something. So they're setting you up. So I heard the scary tone of daddy. So there's this boy. There's this boy. And I'm like, yeah. And I imagine every father of a daughter, girl dad, has come across this for the very first time, and they envision themselves out in the middle of the woods in a backhoe digging a little douchebag sized grave because you just know he's going to be a douchebag, and but you just go with it because they're getting older and you're losing a little bit more of them, and you got to let them go, you got to let them grow. And then you meet the lad, and yeah, you're right, your suspicions were confirmed, he's a douchebag. And then they break up because that's what kids do, they break up quicker than they change clothes. And then you start to do stuff involving your daughter's little friends, all of her little girlfriends, and you're surrounded by all these little preteen and teenage girls, and they start to become like your second daughters. You're the surrogate dad to them, and you love them. You love every single one of these little girls just like they're your own daughter, and you want nothing but the best for them because they're amazing. My daughter's friends are some of the most just genuine, awesome people on the planet, and I honest to God, love them with all my heart. And this is the fun stuff. This is like the fun stuff, because like they're starting to get to where you can give a little bit more adult humor towards them, and their personalities are just exploded, and they love to tease you and to pick on you and do all this stuff, and you love this. And then one day you hear it again. So, Daddy, there's this boy. And then you hear it again. Oh, there's this other boy. And then there's this boy. And I can't tell you how many times I've heard that. Can't tell you how many times. And you realize more and more, I'm losing her. And she's becoming more independent, and she's becoming more strong. And during this time too, I really remember seeing her talents and who she is started to really develop. I mean, she's insanely musically talented. She has beautiful singing voice. She writes poetry. She reads. She's very, very deep, very, very deep emotionally. Just she's a very deep thinker, super intelligent, goofy. And you're seeing all this, and you're like, man, my daughter is she's just perfect. She's just perfect. And so then a boy comes along who she becomes fully vested in. And you meet him, and as much as you want to be a jerk to him, you're not, because it's not going to benefit this whatsoever. And then they're together for a little while, for a long while. And then one day he breaks her heart. He breaks up with her. And then you are left with one of the worst things in the world as a dad of a girl, is realizing that you have to collect and dry the tears that are caused by another man, by another guy, something you didn't do. It's probably the hardest part right there, because it's not fair. It's not fair what they go through and what they're put through and stuff. It's not. And, but that's okay, because that's something only you can do. Something only you can do. And then more boys come and go, and, and then you see they get older and they're starting to get more and more independent. They get the driver's license. They get a job. They get heavily involved in other activities and stuff. And it's a daily reminder that you're losing her. Daily reminder that you're losing her. And then the world does what it does. And the world's really, really hard on these girls, and especially for these girls, they live in such a small world, but they think it's so big, and their whole world is surrounded, their high school and their this, that, and the other. And, you get these girls, they get this like incredibly terrible self-esteem and anxiety and stuff. Well, I'm not as skinny as this cheerleader, and the boys pay more attention to the popular girl than they do to me. And what's wrong with me? What's wrong with me? And they start to doubt themselves, and they start to question themselves, and they don't like themselves. And what's the craziest thing about that is they do not realize that that's just all a lie that's there by people in such a small area. And that if these girls could look at them the way that we can see them from a lifetime of experience, they will see that it is just, they are amazing. They just have no clue whatsoever. And so once again, you're there to dry the tears and you're to try to uplift them as much as you can and try to tell them that all this is wrong. But you're dad. You have to say this stuff so they don't firmly believe it because you're dad. And so, you know, mine, she's 17 right now. And I got a lot of stuff right around the corner that it's going to happen. It's going to suck. Before too long, she's going to graduate from high school. And then she's going to, losing her there. And then she's going to get out on her own, college, life, you know. And then, you know, and then I'll hear from her, you know, but she'll be pretty involved in her own life. But, you know, when she'll need money or, you know, she needs a friendly ear to talk to, or she's lonely, she's scared, and there's a noise in the middle of the night, or her car breaks down, or she gets a flat tire, she's going to call dad. Because that's something, and no matter how much I lose her, that's something nobody else can do. That's mine. That's mine. That's me. And then one day, there's going to be some guy come up to me and he's going to say, hey, I want to ask for your daughter's hand in marriage. And I've thought about this 1,000 times. And I'm going to weep. Oh my God, am I going to cry? Like, yeah. I'm not going to let him see it. I'll wait until this little shit turns around and walks away, and, you know, then I will. But then the day's going to come after that, and it's going to seem like it's about 5 minutes later. Me and her standing in the back of a church. I'm going to look over, and she's going to be in all white. And she's going to be beautiful. Just one of those beautiful things I've ever seen. And she's going to say, Dad, it's time to go. Nah, it's not. Just give me a couple more minutes. I'm going to be holding her as tight as I can. She's like, Dad, we got to go. Just one more minute. Just give me one more minute. And that door's going to open. I'm going to try to compose myself. I'm going to walk down that road with her. And I'm going to be just eyeballing him like crazy. Like the worst 1,000-yard stare you're ever going to see. And then when I get up there, I'm going to hand over to him the greatest gift that's ever been given to me. And she's probably going to kiss me on the cheek. And I'm going to turn and walk away. I'm just going to go sit down. Just going to go sit down and watch. Try not to fall apart. Because then she'll officially be gone. She's officially gone at this point. I'll go home that night. I'll sit by myself. And I'm going to cry. Like the first time you see Old Yeller cry. Oh. But then, I've heard a lot of guys talk about this. Then there's going to be a day coming where I get a phone call. And she's going to say, hey, Dad, guess what? You're going to be a pawpaw. That's going to be cool. That's going to be really, really fucking cool. Because I'll tell you this much. I'm going to just spoil the ever-loving heck out of my grandchildren. I'll get to see them all the time. And, you know, because Papa's going to be babysitting all the time. All the time. And Papa's cool. Papa's funny. And then I'll have her back again. Because honestly, I never really lost her. You know, never did. Even though I thought I did. It's selfishness. But you gotta let them go and you gotta let them grow. So all this was brought up in my mind because my daughter talked to me earlier this week. Her and her boyfriend kind of had like a disagreement and an argument, and she was really down on herself, and she came to me and she talked to me, and she wanted a guy's point of view. And, realized during that time is As much as I've been focused on, like, oh, he's getting my time with her and she's going to him and talking to him about her feelings and stuff, he can't do that for her. Ain't nobody else who can be that for her. That's me. That's me. I haven't lost her. I've got her. And it's awesome. It's awesome. So there's a lot of shit that they don't tell you when they tell you it's a girl. And, you know, you're going to be scared to death. There's going to be times where you're getting your toenails painted, you're getting makeup put on your face, you're dressed up in the tea party, and God, what I wouldn't give for those days again. I'll get that with my grandchildren, but they're also going to tell you that you're going to fumble through trying to figure out how to braid a ponytail, because that's some devil black magic art that they don't ever teach you, and you're never going to learn how to French braid whatsoever. You aren't. No matter how much you try, all you're going to do is just hurt your daughter. And you're going to go to recitals and swim meets and meet boys and do all this and just more and more shit that they don't tell you when they say it's a girl. And then you're going to have to dry up a whole lot of tears that weren't caused by you. But that's a good thing, because that's what you're supposed to be there for. I'll tell you, being a daddy of a daughter, it's one of the most terrifying, one of the greatest rides ever that you're ever going to go on. And I just felt like I needed to share that. So I hope you guys like this video. Try to do something great in the world today. Remember, you support me, I support you, and we support us. Make this world a better place. Make this country a better place. We'll see you.